Story 1. Room number 9. The light never goes out. Narrator, Mike, night security guard. I used to work as a night guard for a 5-story administrative building in the suburbs of Chicago. The job wasn't anything special, just making rounds each night, checking doors, turning off lights that employees forgot, occasionally reporting to the supervisor if there was a faulty fire alarm. The building was eerily quiet at night. Not a single sound, only the buzzing of fluorescent lights and the echo of my own footsteps on the glossy tile hallway. I'm not the superstitious type, not easily startled, especially during night shifts. But there was one thing I still can't explain, even though I left that job years ago. It was room number 9 on the 2nd floor. On my very first night, while checking the administrative offices on the 2nd floor, I saw that the light in room 9 was still on. No one was there. I went in, turned off the light, and locked the door. Nothing unusual. But the next night, the light was on again. I turned it off. The night after that, on again. I thought maybe someone during the day forgot. But when I asked the morning staff, they shook their heads. That room hadn't been used in a long time. An old receptionist named Carol, who had worked there for over 10 years, went silent when I mentioned room 9. She lowered her voice, like she was afraid someone might be listening. That one's been empty for years. They don't let anyone use it anymore. Something's not right. I asked what she meant by not right, but she just looked at me like she wanted to say something, and then didn't. She shook her head and replied slowly. Anyone who worked in there always asked for a transfer after just a few days. I gave a nervous laugh, but inside I felt uneasy, partly because I was curious, but mostly because of the indescribable feeling I got standing in front of that room each night. The cold, pale light, the closed curtains. No sound, but also no feeling of emptiness like other rooms. It felt like something was lurking. One Saturday night, it was pouring rain, and the whole building was empty. I decided to open room 9. The lights inside were stark white, almost blinding. The room was completely empty, except for an old wooden desk, a worn leather swivel chair, and a wall clock. The hands were frozen, exactly at 3:17 a.m. On the desk in the center of the room was a single item, a dusty old cassette recorder. I stepped closer, and before I could touch it, the recorder turned on by itself. A static sound came on, then a man's voice. Hoarse, slow. "Welcome back, Mike." I froze. My name is Mike, but I had never told anyone except my supervisor. My name tag hadn't even been printed yet. The voice continued, emphasizing each word. "You forgot, but we didn't." I backed away, confused. Then I saw my reflection in the black, glossy screen of the recorder. But that wasn't me. In the reflection, I was sitting on the chair, hands on the table, eyes staring forward. But in real life, I was standing. I hadn't moved. In the reflection, it smiled. A twisted, crooked smile, like it was learning how to mimic a human smile, but still missing something essential. It was wrong. Very wrong. I stumbled back and ran out, slamming the door shut and locking it. My hands were shaking so badly, it took several tries to call my supervisor. He arrived in 15 minutes, and I dragged him back to the 2nd floor. When we got there, room 9 was gone. No nameplate, no doorknob, just a flat, smooth wall, as if there had never been a door there at all. I turned to my supervisor, speechless. He looked at me for a long time, then said, "You're not the first to see it, and you definitely won't be the last." Story 2. The 13th floor not on the blueprint. Narrator, Laura, overnight IT staff. I work in the IT department of a major media company in New York. Because the servers run non-stop, the company has a 24/7 tech support rotation. I'm one of the 2 alternating night shift staff, responsible for data systems and responding to incidents. The building has 14 floors, but strangely, there's no 13th floor, at least not on the elevator or floor plans. It jumps from 12 straight to 14, like a way to avoid superstition. I didn't think much of it. A lot of places in the U.S. do that. But then one night, something strange happened. That day, The internal alert system reported an error from a backup server on the 12th floor. I took the elevator down to check. On my way back, while waiting for the elevator, I pressed the button for the 14th floor, my working floor. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. I stepped in, and the elevator didn't move. It just sat there on the 12th floor, with no floor light on the control panel. I pressed 14 again. The light blinked, then a nameless button lit up. Not 14. Not any label floor. Just a black square glowing faintly red, like dried blood. I looked around, thinking it was a malfunction, but then the elevator moved. It moved slowly, very slowly, like it was passing through an unlisted floor. When it stopped, the door opened and I saw a completely unfamiliar hallway. No nameplates, no lights, just a murky darkness. But strangely, I couldn't see through it. It was as if the light from the elevator was being blocked right at the threshold. I don't know why I stepped out. Partly out of curiosity, partly like something was pulling me. The hallway had dirty black carpet, walls covered in peeling, aged wallpaper. There was something musty in the air. It smelled like damp cloth rotting for years. I walked down the hall. No sound, no humming of AC, no buzzing lights, not even a sound of my own footsteps. No echo. That made me uneasy. I stopped in front of a slightly open door. Inside, pitch black, but I could see a faint red flicker coming from somewhere in the corner. I walked in. The small room was empty, no furniture, just a metal table with an old CRT monitor, the bulky kind from the 90s. It was on. The red light came from it. On the screen was security footage of the hallway I had just walked through, but something was off. On the screen, someone was standing in the hallway, back to the camera, wearing the same IT uniform as me. Long, black, stringy hair. I shivered. I turned to look out at the hallway. No one there. I looked back at the screen. The figure had turned around. It was me, but not me. Her eyes were empty, like two hollow pits, lips sealed into a black slit stretching to her ears. Skin deathly pale like wax. She raised her hand and pointed directly at me through the screen. At that moment, I heard knocking right behind me. Once, twice, then 3 times. I slammed the monitor shut and stepped back. But when I turned, the room had no door, just a blank wall. I panicked, pounded my hands against the wall. It echoed, like it was hollow, like there was space behind it. Then I heard whispering, indistinct words, many voices layered together, right in my ear, like they were inside the wall. They kept repeating one phrase, "We're not done with you yet." I don't remember exactly how I got out. When I came to, I was lying on the floor of the 14th floor, head throbbing, the clock showing 4:06 a.m. No one else in the building knew what happened. The hallway camera on the 12th floor didn't record me returning to the elevator. The elevator never left the 12th floor, at least according to the control system. I never told anyone, except the other night shift guy. He listened quietly, then said, "I saw that button 2 years ago, but I didn't dare step out." Then he looked at me like he wanted to ask, "What did you see?" Story 3, The Window Without Reflection. Narrator, Mark, graphic designer. I work at a high-end interior design company in Seattle. The office is on the 11th floor of a modern building, with floor-to-ceiling glass windows. During the day, it's bright as daylight, but at night, unnervingly quiet. I often stay late, partly for deadlines, partly because I like silence to focus. That night, I was the last one to leave the office. I turned off the lights area by area, leaving just a dim light in the pantry. It was drizzling outside, the entire city cloaked in a gray gloom. Typical Seattle winter. As I packed up my laptop, I caught a movement in the corner of my eye outside the glass window. A shadow darted past on the right. I startled. The 11th floor. No balcony, no walkway outside. I stepped up to the window, looked out, nothing. I turned on my desk lamp so the light shone against the glass, and that's when I noticed no reflection. The glass window, over 2 meters wide, yet didn't reflect me. No desk lamp, No chair, just a window view of the city, like a screen. I stepped to the left, but the view through the glass stayed the same, like it was fixed. No rain falling, no headlights moving. I cautiously reached out to touch the glass. Cold, but not the cold of glass. It felt like metal with a slight pull, like a magnet. I felt uneasy, just as I was about to turn away. I saw myself standing on the other side of the window. Me, but not me. The expression wasn't mine. His face was calm, eyes empty. Then slowly, a smirk formed as if mocking. I backed away. The reflection, or whatever it was, didn't move. It stood still, then slowly raised one finger and tapped on the glass. 3 knocks. Tap, 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 softly. But the sound echoed in my head, like knocking directly inside my skull. I turned, trying to retreat, but the office lights flickered. My monitor turned on by itself, displaying interior designs I had drawn, but all of them had been altered. Chairs twisted. Windows turned into dark voids, like gaping mouths. I shut the screen off, but when I looked up, I saw me, the reflection inside the office. It was behind the conference table, head slightly tilted, still watching me. I didn't dare move. It didn't approach. Just raised a hand, mimicking my gestures, even though I wasn't moving, like it was controlling me instead of the other way around. The air in the room thickened. I couldn't scream, couldn't call. My phone lost signal. Every door was locked. It was just me and it. I closed my eyes, counted down, took deep breaths. When I opened my eyes, everything was gone. The window reflected normally again. The screen was off. No one else in the room. I left the office at night and never did night shifts again. 3 weeks later, a new co-worker, also a designer, asked, "Hey, Mark, these designs, they look like yours. But why do they have a figure standing in the mirrors?" I didn't answer, because since then every photo I take, every sketch I draw, there's always a figure standing behind me. Story 4. The conference room at the end of the hall. Narrator, Daniel, building security. I'm the night guard for an office building in Chicago. Nothing special. Shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., rounds every 2 hours, checking doors, fire alarms, cameras. I've worked here for 6 years. I know every dark corner in this place. Except the conference room at the end of the 9th floor hallway. I never go in there. It's not on the meeting schedule. No one books it. Always locked. But every night, the lights in that room are still on. I once asked the manager. He just said, "Leave it be. Don't worry about it." I didn't ask again, but the feeling that something's off always lingers. One cold, rainy night, the elevator malfunctioned, so I had to patrol on foot. When I reached the 9th floor, the hallway stretched long and empty, lit only by flickering fluorescent lights and the tapping of rain on the windows. I walked to the end. The conference room door was ajar. I hesitated. I shouldn't go in, I knew that, but from inside, I heard voices, multiple voices, men and women, like a meeting, but disjointed, incoherent, like an old tape being rewound. I pushed the door. No one inside. The room was completely empty. Long table, chairs neatly aligned, white light casting down on the wooden surface, but no people. The voices continued, coming from a small ceiling speaker. I stepped in. The door slammed shut behind me. I turned, grabbed the handle. It wouldn't open. The voice from the speaker turned into a whisper right by my ear. "We need one more. We need you, Daniel." I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled. I screamed and kicked the door hard. Eventually, it burst open. I ran out, but since that night, the conference room lights never turn off, even with the circuit breaker pulled. The security camera records shadowy figures sitting in a room at 3:33 a.m. each night, but when checked, the room is empty. No one believed me, until a new guard, curious, went in to check. He never came back out. The camera shows him standing still in front of the table, then gradually fading into the air, like he was absorbed by the light. Now every night, I do my round an hour earlier, I avoid the ninth floor. I don't look into the glass window of the conference room because I know if I stare long enough, I'll see them meeting. And the last seat at the table is still empty.